Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to the Week 10 NFL edition of WST Winners here on Winnipeg Sports Talk, brought to you by our friends at Coolbet. We're going to hit the Coolbet lines, crank out our favorite against the spread picks, hit a couple props each, and get a house caller for our touchdown parlay as well. As always, we're brought to you by our friends at Coolbet, great partners at Winnipeg Sports Talk. If you haven't played there before, use the promo code WST for a 100% bonus up to $200 on your first deposit. And make sure to check out the combo cards and exclusives for some boosted parlays that we're going to put together today on the show. Let's welcome in my partners in crime, Pat Gregoire, Jake Bolin Moss. Boys, have you gotten over the excitement of a Thursday night football classic?
That football game set the sport back years upon years. Maybe decades. You're right. Maybe decades. That was a horrible display of football. It was disgusting. It was gross. Yet I couldn't turn away. I could not stop. And us on your program yesterday on WST, I said, hey, this is the great thing. We're at the point now when we're at this year where it's a Thursday night. You've got about 10 other NHL games going on. There's an NBA game on. There's a college football game on. What did I do? I sat my ass on this chair and forced myself to watch that horrendous display of football, and no one else is to blame except for myself.
Jake, normally you can just turn the TV off. I know you watched it last night, and you were borderline triggered by the show that we saw last night.
Yeah, listen, I texted Pat to the lead up to the game. I was like, I do not feel good about this football game. I had a ladder play on Troy Franklin. I jumped on a few other bets, and what I should have done, Huss, is just cashed everything out and just watched something else, because that was absolutely atrocious football. I rarely rage tweet a game that doesn't involve my team. I couldn't stop tweeting about how bad the Broncos look. The worst 8 team possibly ever in the history of football. This team is going nowhere. I cannot wait. I texted this to Patty last night. I cannot wait to fade them in the wild card weekend. I tweeted it last night. I am so very excited because they are the biggest F words. That's frauds in the NFL right now. And there's another couple teams that I got my eye on as frauds as well that we can probably get into.
Yeah, I did get a text. I think even Bronco fans were embarrassed by last night. They are 8-2 now, as they said, the worst team around. Here's just a little bit of the body of work of the Denver Broncos this year. Of their 8 wins, they beat the 3-6 Jake Browning-led Bengals, the 2-7 Geno Smith-led Raiders by 3 points. That was last night. Can't forget about squeaking out a 3-point win last night against Davis Mills and the Texans. Who can forget the 1-7 Jets with -10 passing offense? That was a 13-11 squeaker. The 2-7 Jackson Dart Giants by 1 point. That was an insane game. And of course, a 1-score win over 1-8 Cam Ward-led Tennessee Titans. I guess you are what your record is, but tell you what, if they have play anywhere close to that against the Chiefs next week, it'll look a little like the Chiefs Raider game a couple weeks ago, which was we all remember that. Guys, let's get right to it.
One more thing. We're spending way too much time on this game.
Yes.
But I just need to get one more thing off my chest. Jake can attest to this. I was an all-time Bo Nix hater in college. Like all time. I hated the guy. I thought he stunk. I lost a lot of money betting him. So then it became Saturday tradition. You wake up, you go on your account, you bet against whoever Bo Nix is playing. And I this year, coming into this season, I said, you know what? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Bo Nix is actually a decent quarterback. I'm taking it all back. He is basically Tim Tebow without the Jesus and the Lord stuff. Okay. That's pretty much what he is at this point. He stinks. He's awful. He's terrible. I'm glad I know ball. I'm glad I know quarterbacks because this guy is terrible. I'm sorry. He stinks.
Oh my God. That was I listened, that harkened back to the original, the OG Thursday Night Football days of the AFC South Super Bowl of like the 2-10 Jags against the 1-11 Titans. Oh my God, it was bad. Well, hopefully we get some better games. There are actually some pretty good games on the docket this week. Big one with Jake's Patriots going into Tampa. Right now, Tampa, 2.5-point favorite in that game at home. But obviously we're going to get through all of these games as we go through. Jake, why don't you lead us off with your first couple picks against the spread, if you would be so kind.
All right, let's roll into it. I was going to give you my other fraud, but maybe I'll wait a little longer here, and we can when we get talking about them, I'll bring it up.
Sound the alarm.
I'm going to start off with
fraud alert.
Yeah, fraud alert is I absolutely have my buzzers up for the fraud alert. I'll start off this week. I'm going with the Baltimore Ravens. I think it is going to be a public side, but I also think this team is desperate. They're 3-5 right now. They don't have a lot of room for error left. Lamar Jackson is back. You saw what they did last week against the Miami Dolphins, taking care of business. It's a take care of business situation right now for Baltimore. They're going up against the Vikings, who picked up a big win in the division last week over the Detroit Lions. I think, a win like that probably has you fat and happy. You're at home to Baltimore. 4, I don't love the number. Obviously, if that was a 3.5, obviously a 2.5, I'd love. But I think I just have to accept the Ravens for what they are right now, a team in desperate need of wins and very much still in this race. They win this week. Here's how the schedule goes the rest of the way. Cleveland, New York Jets, Cincy, Pittsburgh, Cincy, New England, Green Bay, Pittsburgh. I think the Ravens have a winnable schedule. I don't know if they're going to be perfect the rest of the way, but they can find a way to get to 10 or 11 wins. They're going to at least give themselves a shot to get in. It starts this week against Minnesota in Minnesota. So give me the Ravens at -4. And then I actually jumped on this early, and I'm going to end up getting negative EV on this, which, is it's very me. It's very like, I think I'm getting ahead of the book, and it's absolutely the opposite of the case. I'm jumping on the Niners +4.5. You have to back the underdog in the Shanahan versus McVay games. 49ers and Rams have met 14 times since 2019. Underdog is 13-1 against the spread. Kyle Shanahan 8-0 against the spread in that spot as an underdog versus the Rams. They've got him once this year earlier on Thursday Night Football. I think Shanahan and the boys, even with all the injuries and, the uncertainty of Purdy over all these weeks, I think they find a way to keep it within the number. 4.5, I like a lot better than the 3.5 I got earlier in the week. So give me the Niners at +4.5.
Niners. Connor will like that one behind the camera. Niners +4.5. It's crazy just how beat up that team is right now.
Nuts.
Talking to Connor on the WST yesterday about, their top 3. It has been a masterclass by Shanahan, though. And he finds ways to keep his team in games. That'll be a really interesting one, that the NFC West battle. Patty, what about you? Kick us off with a couple.
Well, I love that Ravens bet as well, Jake. So this could be really bad news for us. You laid it out pretty well, but I have a couple other stats. This team obviously is significantly better with Lamar, but it's glaring how much better they are. Without him, 14.3 points. With him, averaging 31.8. But it's not just Lamar that's improved and got healthy. The defense is a lot better over the last few weeks as well. After allowing the league worst, 35.4 points through the first 5 weeks, the Ravens are now the first team in the league to hold 3 straight opponents to 17 points or less. They've won 2 straight. They're in must-win territory, Jake. I absolutely love this. And I do feel like the Vikings, this could be a big letdown spot after such an emotional victory. This is more about the Ravens than the Vikings. My next pick, certainly not as sexy as the first one. It's gross. It's a terrible game. It could probably resemble the game that we watched last night. The Cleveland Browns -2 against the New York Jets. Plug your nose. Just take this here. Listen, both have horrific offenses. They're terrible. Just bad, incapable offenses. There's only one team, though, that has a horrific defense, and that's the Jets. The Browns' defense is actually elite. They're second in opponents' yards per game, fifth in opponent passing yards per game, and sixth in opponents' total yards per play. It's supposed to be rain, cold, nasty in New Jersey. So I think we see a heavy dose of Judkins running the ball down the Jets' throat. And did I forget to mention Sauce Gardner, gone. Quinnen Williams, gone. How much worse is this Jets defense going to be without those two guys on the field? Give me the Browns. It's gross. It's ugly, but I'll take the better defense. Defense travels. Everyone knows this.
All right. So laying points with Cleveland on the road, statements that have not often been uttered on this show throughout the season. Pat's on Baltimore -4, Cleveland -2. I've got a good mind to just fire on the Vikings right out of the gate. +4 on this one, but I've got some other picks. I'll stay back. That to me is a really, really tough game because I do think we saw the Vikings. So, I mean, listen, they're coming off the biggest win of the season for them in Detroit. But I do agree with you that Baltimore, I mean, we said before, Baltimore's playing a playoff game basically every week the rest of the way. You know what? I think my favorite pick might be in the Sunday nighter. So I'll start there. I'm going to take the Steelers. Now, if you want to take them at 3, I guess it's -120 right now. So for the sake of it, you can do it. I mean, it's even money at +2.5. I actually like the Steelers to win this game. I think that now that Joe Alt is out for the rest of the season, it is, thank God Justin Herbert has Madison Beer to go home to, because I think he's in for some real long days at the office. And listen, we saw the Steelers defense sort of wake up and reemerge last week. We've been waiting for this all season long. They looked as good as they have at any point this season. Frankly, about 10 times better than they had at any point this season. And now they get to go into LA for a home game on the road. You know that it'll be 80% Steeler fans there, no doubt about it. And listen, Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater are out there. They can't protect Justin Herbert. He might get killed on Sunday. So I think the Chargers are just, people very close to me that are big time Charger fans, the minute Alt was out, have sort of resigned themselves that this is not the year. And listen, they seem to get decimated by injuries each and every year, but this one, they just got to hope that their quarterback makes it through these games and can still actually play and keep them in it. But give me Pittsburgh to start things off. I guess I'll take them at 3 for the sake of the picks. But as I say, even money if you want to take them at 2.5. I'm going to stay with the late games. And listen, I feel sorry for Commanders fans. You have a great young quarterback, an up and down season. He comes back in. You're getting absolutely destroyed in the Sunday nighter. And yet Dan Quinn thought it was a good idea to keep Jaden Daniels in there, down 30 with like 6 minutes left in the game. You know how that was going to end up very, very badly. He is out, and it's time for Marcus Mariota to run the show. Listen, I'll be honest. Marcus Mariota, as far as backups go, one of the more serviceable in the league. But he's not Jaden Daniels, and the Commanders are not the Detroit Lions. And I think the Lions are going to be in a very ornery mood coming out of that home loss last week to the Vikings. And I think the Commanders are standing in the way, and it is wrong place, wrong time. I think Detroit rolls in this game. Anything under 10, I think I would be comfortable with. The line is 8 right now. So I'm on the Detroit Lions -8 to smash the Commanders in DC. All right, we've got 2 picks each. Jake, back to you for 3 and 4.
All right, guys, plug your nose. It's about to get ugly, stinky, however you want to look at it. I'm taking a divisional dog this week. and I'm laying the points with the New Orleans Saints plus
no.
5. And then listen, this team's done absolutely nothing to get you excited about the future of the Saints, anything. I know they're starting shock. It's ugly in New Orleans right now. Going up against a team who just won outright as a 13.5-point underdog. It's all setting up perfectly for this Carolina Panthers team to keep it rolling. Well, guess what, guys? The Panthers haven't won or covered in the last 10 games as a favorite since 2021. 4 full years without winning or covering as a favorite. Yes, they've been a great home team. Yes, they've won some games this season, but every single game they've won, they've been an underdog. They do not perform well as a favorite. This is a divisional game. I don't know how the Saints are going to cover the number at the 5, this weird non-football number, but I just know that the Saints, you know what, at the end of the day, I'm just going to look at this and say, the Saints is the correct side of this bet, whether I like it or not. So I'm going ugly. I'm going Saints as the divisional dog on the road in Carolina this weekend. And then the next one I got is actually, these ones kind of connect, not directly, but the team that lost to the Panthers last week as 13.5-point favorites is now 2-point favorites at home to the Philadelphia Eagles on Monday night. And I thought to myself, well, what in the world would make the Packers 2-point favorites? Eagles are coming off the bye. Packers just lost what should have been an easy win for them, according to the odds makers. And I'm taking the Packers at -2. Teams after losing as a favorite of 7 points or more, 81, 57, and 3 against the spread. That's a 58.7% clip since 2015, including 22 and 13 against the spread over the last 3 seasons. I think we got to look at it as a week-to-week league. I've been saying it for a couple weeks now. It's a week-to-week league. Whatever you did last week doesn't mean that's who you are this week, even though I think the Broncos might stink. The Eagles enter this game heavy public side earlier in the week. I expect that to probably continue. I think the Eagles will see a lot of love as an underdog coming off the bye on the road this week. I think the Packers find a way to get it done at Lambeau, and they win and cover this week. So I'm going Packers -2 is my 4th play.
Pack -2. That is one of the, I guess that's the Monday nighter?
Yeah, Monday nighter.
All right. Pack -2 to finish off the weekend. All right. So Jake's in on Baltimore, the Niners, Saints, and the Pack. Pat, you got Baltimore and Cleveland. Who's rounding out your 4?
So, Jake, I assume you haven't seen Real Carolina Mike and heard his song because you did.
I had 150.
I'm a card holding member.
I know you are.
The Carolina Panthers Nation. I had their team win total over, but I don't know. Something about this line is just 5 points. That's it. The Saints have nothing to win. They stink.
Well, the other thing is that you didn't put in your notes that would be to lead you to believe is Meow Mix podcast is recording podcasts again. That is absolutely cursing this
biggest
group.
Mistake of their lives.
You are super fans and you quit your podcast because the team is so bad. And the second that happens, the team goes on a run. Sell your microphone, sell your laptop, sell it all. You're not recording a podcast anymore, fellas. I would not be surprised if they lose. You gave some great trends, Jake, but you could have said Meow Mix is recording podcasts again. I'd be like, perfect. Add it to my card. That's it.
Shout out Carolina Mike, though. I've listened to If I Had 150,000.
I saw you post. I saw you post the other day, Has.
Oh, I listen.
Not enough to buy a football
my heart
team.
That it started popping up more and more. Carolina Mike. I mean, listen, who knows? This is the craziest thing, guys. The Panthers are 5-4. They are 5-4. If you ask anyone, what do you think the Panthers' record is? You might get a 3-6. Yeah. You're probably going to get a 2-7. No, they're 5-4. Carolina Mike is rocking. Did a live show the other day. I follow him on Instagram now, actually. In Minneapolis. He went to like a karaoke night and banged out his 2 hits. Anyway, sorry. I'm glad you brought up Carolina Mike.
Listen, I also don't want to get off the rails, but we're going to get off the rails here for a second. First and foremost, T's and P's to our boy, Set the Flow. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate
Oh,
though.
my God.
Guys just can't be savages
He got
anymore.
way too savage. He got way too savage.
Too
You can't say you're
savage,
going to
man.
break Aaron Rodgers' back.
Yeah, and it ended up biting him in the ass. I can guarantee you, Seth DeFlo, his song this week is going to be a little more PG. But who knows? Maybe he decides he's going to be savage. Who knows?
It could have been just a
It's funny.
WWE style heel turn.
It's funny you bring up Seth because that was my other fraud in the NFL. Listen, I got to read you the schedule quick. I got to read you the schedule quick before we get into the next picks. Win over the Dolphins. Slight win over the Broncos, who we just classified as frauds. 21-point win over the Titans. Lost to the Rams. Smoked the Raiders. Barely beat the Cardinals. Beat the Chargers pretty good. I'd say that's a solid win. Smoked the Titans, lost to the Steelers. This team has beaten absolutely nobody outside of the Chargers. And I mean, you could argue the Chargers aren't even that good. They've beaten nobody. Keep your eye on the Colts. They're another team I'm circling as my wild card weekend fade.
They were so close to being on my card because I think the Atlanta Falcons are frauds. The fact that it's overseas, I couldn't do it. Early
I know.
morning.
I'm weird about that game.
I forgot that's the
It's
that's the
Berlin
game. Okay,
or
Germany.
Munich. I think it's in Germany, right?
that is
Hilarious. Pat Mayo said that it could be good for Atlanta because it's in Frankfurt because Frankfurt's essentially the Atlanta of Europe because all the direct flights go through there. But I'm staying away from that game. Those games just give me the heebie-jeebies, and
I don't like
it sets off your day. If you lose that game to start the day, the vibes are just off. I think they mentioned that on the program there too. So staying away from there because I believe in Danny Dimes. I believe in the Colts. They screwed me last week. I'm not getting on this week, but I'm going to add them to my card probably a couple more times this year. Who I will add to my card, I'm not going to spend too much time here, fellas, because Huss, I'm sorry, buddy. I'm hitching my wagon to your 2 picks. I'm going with the Lions. I've got another pick later on for the program with the Lions as well. I think this is absolute mash time for them. I think they just beat the utter brakes off the Commanders. This could be an ugly, ugly one. And I'm taking them off the suspended list. I said to you guys last week, Tomlin, throw out all those stats about coming off wins. The defense is a joke, blah, blah, blah. Nope. This is the Steelers, man. They're going to do this again. They're going to somehow sneak into the playoffs. They're going to get knocked out the first round. They're going to be around 9-10 wins. And this is going to be a win that they're going to get to because, Huss, you said it, man. That offensive line is terrifying. Absolutely terrifying for the Chargers.
Justin Herbert's going to be running for his life. You know what? We'll get into this when we do some props. I am interested in what Herbert's rushing number is because I think he's going to legitimately be running for his life pretty much anytime he drops back. So Detroit and Pittsburgh back. That's where I started. I'm going to go to a game that we haven't touched on. And speaking of bad or fraudulent teams, may I introduce you to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, I know Trevor Lawrence came through for Jersey Jerry in the big 4-game quarterback parlay last week, and Geno Smith, while having his way. Think about what the Raiders did to the Jags offensively last week, and then think about what you saw last night. This Jacksonville team was a paper tiger with a few wins early on in the season, and they're going into Houston to take on a Texans team that has a big boy, real legit defense. Unfortunately, their offense couldn't do anything last week against Denver. I think it's a different story. Now, I don't expect CJ Stroud to play. That's why the Jags are 1-point favorites in this game. But listen, if Davis Mills can just not turn the football over, I don't see how the Houston defense isn't the dominant unit in this game. They win the field position battle. Like, this is probably going to be, speaking of the old Thursday night football classics, Color Rush, Jags, Texans. This has 9-6 written all over to me. But I do think that Houston gets it done. Their season is really hanging in the balance right now. They have to win this game. And I just don't think the Jags are that good. Give me Houston as a slight home dog at +1. jot that one down.
Do we know CJ Stroud, like he's out for sure?
I mean, they have him listed as questionable, but he hasn't practiced. He hasn't been cleared for the concussion protocol. Listen, if all of a sudden
you know what?
he shows up on Sunday, fantastic, because we'll be getting them at +1, and they'll probably end up being like 2 or 3 point favorites. But even with Davis Mills, longest neck in NFL history, by the way.
CBS has him confirmed out for week 10, expected return week 11. By
Okay,
the way.
yeah.
Hey, here's the thing. I don't think it freaking matters. I don't think this might be a hot take. This might be very hot takey of me. I don't think Davis Mills is that much of a downgrade over what we've seen from CJ Stroud this year. Houston, if they're going to win football games this year, if they're going to get in the playoffs, it's not going to be because of great quarterback play. It's going to be because of their defense. So Haas, this one was very, very close to being on my card as well. I love this.
All right. You know what? I was considering potentially actually going with the Colts, but that's definitely not happening now that that's over in Europe. And by the way, the Falcons are such a frustrating team. As bad as they've looked the last couple of weeks, watch them go out, which they do once every 3 or 4 games, and look amazing in this one. I think this is a big test for Indy, actually. The number's a bit too big. You know what? I think I'm going to roll with a team that has been, frankly, excellent all season long. They're 6-2. They're at home. They're playing a division rival who's coming off a big win. But to me, I just think the Seattle Seahawks are in a different class right now than the Arizona Cardinals. It is funny that the Cardinals now have put Kyler Murray on IR. Our buddy Calamari has, listen, he's fun to watch. He makes some plays. I'm not sure whether there's a new Call of Duty out or something, but Jacoby Brissett has gone in. And listen, we all know Jacoby Brissett. The guy's been in the league for 20 years, but he is competent. And that was all they needed to beat a bad Cowboys team and, to put themselves where they are. But man, look at what the Seahawks have done this year. I mean, they had that tough loss right out of the gate against Connor's Niners, but then they beat the Steelers on the road by 14. They smashed the Saints by 30 at home. They beat the Cardinals in Arizona by 3. A tight loss in that classic to Baker Mayfield and the Bucks. And then their last 3 games, an 8-point win over the Jags, an 8-point win over the Texans, and basically ended the Commanders' season last week on Sunday night, 38-14. It is a big number at 6.5, but I think between the 12s there with the home crowd, the momentum that this team has, and listen, they just added Rashid Shaheed, and I'm fascinated to see what this does to their offense, because that is a guy that can rip the top off a defense. They're going to have to respect Rashid Shaheed. What does that do to Jackson Smith and Jigba? JSN has been a catch machine so far, and I think his job and his effectiveness just went up significantly, because if they don't, Sammy Darts throws a nice deep ball and Shaheed will grab it. I mean, he's the king of 2 catches for 95 yards and a touchdown. I mean, they don't come often, but when they do, they're big plays. And that is something that it seemed that this team didn't have, and now they do. And as I say, when we're talking about Arizona, a Jacoby Brissett-led Cardinals team, which I do think is actually better and a little more reliable than Kyler Murray. Listen, I know they got that win over Dallas, but before that, they had 5 consecutive losses to the Niners, Seahawks, Titans, Colts, and Packers. So I'm thankful that it's under 7. I would love it to be a little less, but I will ride with the Seahawks -6.5 for the final pick. Now I guess we can dive into this right now, guys, if we want to put this together. Baltimore and Baltimore for you guys. Pat and I are both on Detroit and Pittsburgh. And then Jake has the Niners, the Saints, and the Pack. What are we thinking about a little combo card based on our picks so far? I certainly
something tells me
the 2 picks that I made first off, the Pittsburgh and Detroit, are certainly my favorite ones, Pat, and I know you're with.
I like those.
Jake, where are you at for yours?
Something tells me that you guys don't want Browns and you guys don't want Saints.
I haven't even said anything. Yeah, Saints are definitely not on the card. I mean, listen, I know you said you were probably should just fade us in the moment, us, but I think the Ravens to round it out makes a lot of sense at 3.5 with Pat and I both being on the Ravens. I like the Lions with you guys. It wasn't on my card just because I knew I just didn't want to have all the heavy public sides again. And I knew the Lions would be up there, but another team that, was a 7+ point favorite last week coming off an outright loss, another good spot. Similar trends that I read out for the Packers. So yeah, I like the Lions, Steelers, Ravens makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah. So it will take the Detroit to 7.5. We'll do Baltimore -3.5, and we'll do Pittsburgh plus. Do we want to just go with the 2.5 and kind of make it up, or do we want to go 3.5 on this one?
Why don't we just take the point? I mean,
Yeah, let's do
3 was -120. Might as well have the field goal in our back pocket.
I would prefer that.
Yeah, -141 right now if you're wanting plus 3.5. So we'll take that up with with a bit of a boost, but we'll be getting some extra points. So Pittsburgh plus 3.5, Baltimore -3.5, Detroit -7.5 is going to be the partner parlay for this week. All right, let's hit the prop shop, fellas. A couple of our favorites for the week. Jake, I'll throw it back to you. What are you liking when it comes to the prop offerings for the week for us to put something together?
Yeah, I got my eyes on a couple receivers. And listen, you already talked about this game with the Houston Texans and Jacksonville Jaguars. I know it's not going to be CJ Stroud, but this guy absolutely owns the Jags. Nico Collins over 62.5 receiving yards. 4 straight games with 100+ receiving yards against Jacksonville. He's got touchdowns in 3 of those 4 games. His last 4 against Jacksonville, 35 receptions, 478 yards, and 3 touchdowns. He's been the most targeted pass catcher on the Texans this season. He's got double-digit targets at his last 2 starts, including, Mills was in for most of that game last week against Denver. And I think they got to find a way to get the offense going. He's the spark of that offense. It's him and Dalton Schultz really in terms of pass catching, in my opinion. So I think we see a big game out of Nico Collins, who has crushed the Jags in the past. And I think we see him do it again. So over 62.5 receiving yards there. And then the other one, I went with a reception prop. We haven't talked about this Giants-Bears game. I love the over in that game. I know we don't usually do totals, but that's a game I've circled as an over. But I'm going to take Wan'Dale Robinson over 5.5 receptions. He's hauled in 6+ catches now in 3 of his last 4, and he's taken over that role of the wide receiver 1 since Malik Neighbors has been out. Back at the end of September. He's been steady as of late. 34 targets over the last 4 weeks and 24 for receptions with 0 drops. So I think Jackson Dart looks to him a ton. I think he's the a safety blanket. I looked last week; he had 9 receptions, and I think his longest reception was 9 yards. So, if you're making a high quality pass catching, short passes, ton of receptions. I was a little nervous about his receiving yards total, so that's why I opted for the receptions. That one's actually plus money at plus 103.
Beautiful. Nico Collins over 62.5 receiving yards. Wan'Dale Robinson 6 or more catches for Jakey. Pat, what about you?
I talked about how I think this could be a huge bounce back game for the Lions, but also Jared Goff too. I thought he looked really, really underwhelming against the Vikings last week. So I think we see a bounce back, and you guys saw how horrendous that secondary is in Washington. Sammy Darts just picked them apart in prime time. Last couple of weeks have been a bloodbath in the secondary. Darnold 330 yards last week. Mahomes 299 yards in week 8. Week 7, Dak Prescott 264. Caleb Williams 252. Jared Goff's right in the mix here. I think he makes it rain. I could see 300 yards. And this is the type of game that Dan Campbell, mostly you'd be like, ooh, passing yards in a game that could be a blowout. No. This is one where The Lions show their teeth. They really want to get right here. And I think they're going to toss the ball all over the yard till maybe the fourth quarter.
Okay, so that's Goff over what?
Goff over 247.5 passing yards.
5 pass. All right. And the other
and
one?
then the other one, quarterback rushing prop. Going under.
Steady. You were consistent. Oh,
going under, fellas.
Breaking news.
Going under. And I'm not, because I went back on the train with Herbert and it catched, I think, in one rush. But I might be getting cute here, but I saw this number and I did some digging here. I actually really like this one. Jalen Hurts under 26.5 rushing yards. Hurts, listen, again, we get it. He's mobile. He runs the ball really well. He actually hasn't got more than 23 rushing yards in 4 straight games here. The Packers also give up the fewest amount of rushing yards to quarterbacks. This is going to be a game. If the Eagles are going to win here, kind of lean with Jake, though, that the Packers are going to come out on top. Jalen Hurts is going to have to beat these guys with his arm. And what the Packers do a great job is giving up those big plays. They keep everything in front of them. I think Hurts is just going to be dumping it off all day long. He's not going to need to be running for his life. He's not going to have to. Could get sweaty because they might have, 26 touch pushes at some point. But to be honest, I think Hurts stays in the pocket this game. We hit this under comfortably, and it's going to be a changing of the guard. Quarterback rushing prop, but we're going under this time.
You know what? I'm going to get into the quarterback rushing prop party. I haven't done this too often, but I've got a real low number on a guy that I think is going to have to take a run or two. And that is the long neck himself, Davis Mills. His rushing total for the game is only 5.5.
Oh, I love this. I love this so much.
Listen, he's not a guy that gets rid of the ball quickly. You just have to think that over the course of a game that will probably be tight, he's going to be forced into running a couple times. And essentially what he needs, 2-3 yard runs to cash this. I'm just looking at some of the, calculations and predictions when they run it through. They have him routinely in the teens in most of the mocks. So give me Davis Mills over 5.5 rushing yards in a very stinky prop pick. And then the other one, I'm going to go to one of the stars of the game. And listen, this Baltimore-Minnesota game, I think there's going to be a lot of points. I am with you. This is going to be a real tough one for Minnesota. But I got to tell you, I like J.J. McCarthy when he was in structure. When plays broke down and he had to improvise, that's where things got sketchy. But KOC is a guy that is going to scheme and take advantage of, I think, the fact that the Baltimore Ravens play as much man defense as anybody in the NFL. And if you're going to man up on Justin Jefferson, they're going to go to him early, often, and all day. Now, listen, it has been sort of feast or famine at times for JJ. Listen, he's getting the targets. He had 9 targets last week, 6 catches, only 47 yards, kind of a slower game for him. But again, there's a lot of other things that were working for him. But in the past, 11 targets, 7 catches, 10-5, 11-7, and 11-10. Listen, if they're going to win this game, they're going to need to have a big, big one from Justin Jefferson. I think a lot of the plays early in the first quarter are going to be designed to get JJ into a groove and to get the ball into Justin Jefferson's hands. When I look at these numbers right now, sorry, I just got to get back to the receptions. So Jefferson over 5.5 is minus 169. We're getting plus 111 on over 6.5. So I'm going to get a little aggressive with this one. I'm going to go for some plus money. Justin Jefferson over 6.5 receptions. And that is in there at plus 111 right now. Over at Coolbet. Now we got to figure out which ones we like for the parlay. Guys, which is your favorite one as far as to put in for our exclusive?
I think personally for me, it's Collins. Just seeing his seeing his past against the Jags, even with, like I said, even with Mills, it's a big target for Mills. I think 62.5 is very doable.
Patty, what about you? You want to go with the Goff passing numbers or the Hurts under?
I won't be able to live myself if it's a under on a quarterback rushing prop that ends up nuking the parlay. So let's go with Goff. I think he's going to make it rain.
Okay, Goff over 247. Now, what do you guys do? We want to get more aggressive and go with the JJ, or do we go with 2 Texans in our parlay and have the honestly, I think the Davis Mills over 5.5 rushing yards is a more likely play to actually hitting. But I will say this, I'm fully in on Justin Jefferson. I guess if we wanted to, we could do the 5.5 for that one, but it's a big drop from plus 111 to minus 169. Probably a little more fun to follow Justin Jefferson as far as, and people will be watching that game.
But I can for yourself. I will be getting a piece of it, Huss. Like I will be riding with you because I love my quarterback rushing props, like with the mobile quarterbacks. What's almost more fun is the guys that could barely move, and all you need is 3 or 4. Like Aaron Rodgers, consistently, his rushing total is like half a yard or 1 yard. And when you see him get out of the pocket, you go, oh, this could be it. This could be it. And then you're kind of clinching yourself because now it could be victory formation. You lose a couple of yards there too. So I love the bet. I will be riding it.
The Mills?
But for the people, I think, because I'm not a normal person, I'm a sicko. For the normal people, I think Justin Jefferson's the better bet.
Sounds good. Jake, are you cool with that?
Yep. Yeah, that works for me.
Okay, so we're going to take a swing with 7 receptions for Justin Jefferson. And especially if, Baltimore is ahead and wins this game, they're going to need to throw a lot. So, I think the game script works for the Jefferson pick as well. So we're going to get aggressive. We're going to go Jefferson over 6.5, Nico Collins over 62.5, Goff over 247. That will be cooking in the Coolbet exclusives. All right, let's get some touchdowns here, boys. Let's get back in the win column with the house callers. You know what? I'll fire mine right out of the gate. I didn't have the balls to touch this game. Pat did with Cleveland and the New York Jets. I don't really want to have any major action on this game for fear of forcing me to watch it. But I do like Quinshon Judkins. I was thinking about him in the prop department, but his numbers are big. We're talking about like the high 80s for rushing yards, which just tells you what's left of the Jet defense. With no Quinnen Williams on that D-line, I think Cleveland's going to be running this thing all day. And the bottom line is, if they get in and around the red zone, they're not letting Dylan Gabriel freelance and throw the football. They're going to be pounding the rock. He is the guy. The touchdown prop is some good value to me. It's only minus 135 right now. Clearly the top of the board in this game. And I do think that Cleveland will score a little bit against this decimated Jets defense. So give me Q Judkins to kick off the TD parlay at minus 135. Jakey, what about you?
Yeah, Patty's been diving deep into this game. I think he's got a good read on it. I think we're going to see a lot of points, especially from the Detroit side of the ball. I think it's easy to start at the top of the list and say, is it going to be Gibbs? Is it going to be Amon-Ra? I moved a little further down the list because I'm a bit of a sicko. I like JMO this week. Jameson Williams plus 161. Scored last week on a 37-yard touchdown. I think this is a great opportunity to get JMO some balls down the field. He hasn't been over 100 yards since week 2. And some of these games, he's done a whole lot of nothing. So I think this is a great opportunity, kind of take the top off the defense, score a big one with JMO early in the game, and get some value there, plus money.
Yeah, and hopefully add to the Goff over for the prop.
Yeah, well, I know. I was like, yeah, kind of. If we have a script for the game, it kind of all lines up very nicely with JMO scoring a big one from Goff.
He's like the Rashid Shaheed, although he might get a carry or two. But it's right. Like 3 catches for 95 yards. There's a big one in there that often will go to the house. All right, we got Quinshon Judkins, JMO from the Lions. What about you, Patty?
So my favorite touchdown prop is probably going to be too big for our parlay. I love Dalton Kincaid to find the end zone, but I think it's at what, +2 something, Jake, right now at Coolbet. He leads the Bills in receiving touchdowns. He's third in receptions. James Cook is going to play, but I don't know how much they're going to actually use them. We didn't talk about this Bills game. Obviously, this is a huge possible letdown spot for the Bills. The Bills have absolutely dominated Miami, and Miami, I mean, they're on a downward spiral. It's probably too big for the parlay. I get it, guys. I get it. So instead,
well, hey, is it too big?
Listen, after seeing what Jerry did last week, I'm all for taking a shot of that touchdown parlay, because at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. They put these numbers out there. If you like a number, if you like a prop, you like a prop. I think we just take it. I think juice you on this week.
I'm with you.
Okay. The other option was JSN. But I mean,
listen, I'm a
you only
big
live once,
guy.
fellas.
I feel like we dove into Kincaid. I feel like I think we got to go Kincaid. After seeing what Jerry did last week.
When I pulled up Coolbet.com, I went to that game because I was thinking, I was like, okay, who can I target? Because Cook is playing banged up right now. I was like, Josh Allen, if this is a blowout, are they going to push him? Is he really going to be? Probably not. And then I kept going down the board. I'm like, where is Dalton Kincaid? And when I saw the number, I was shocked. I'm already on it. But the Dolphins are one of the worst defenses in allowing tight ends to score in the red zone. They're one of the worst teams at just defending tight ends. They give up 7 receptions a game to tight ends. So Kincaid's been cooking, man. Let's go with it. Let's shoot for the fence. Guys, we only have a certain amount of football left this year, right?
Yeah,
I don't want to
come on.
Let's bang this one out. Judkins, Jameson Williams, Dalton Kincaid. I fully endorse the pick, Pat. And I will probably, and the fact that it's over 2-1, I think is
I thought it was
a great number.
I thought it was going to be 175. I couldn't believe my eyes.
We're going to get such good juice. I'm going to bet that right after this show.
Yeah, here we go. We'll get that up. So that'll probably be in the combo cards, the WST Winners, house callers, Kincaid, Jameson Williams, Quinshon Junkins together, all to get in. I'm still alive in Survivor, guys. I'm still alive, but man, with the teams that I've already played this week, it was a tough one. We haven't even talked about the Tampa New England game, which is one of the toughest games. Both of those teams are available to me, but I don't have a really good read on this game. I think it could go either way. So, Patty, you're going to love this. You ready to keep pounding and support the Carolina Panthers here in this one? I'm taking the Panthers. Listen, it was very difficult. I don't have any really good looks. I mean, any of the bigger favorites I've already taken right now. So I'm just going to be cranking Carolina, Mike, all afternoon on Sunday. Throwing Monopoly money up in the air when the Panthers get me through to the next round. We're very tight in this Survivor pool. So yeah, I'm locked in. I'm locked in on the Panthers right now. So we'll see how that one goes. Jake, just before we go, just quick thoughts on that Tampa New England game, because it didn't come up. Listen, your guy Drake May is looking great. The team is continuing to roll. We've talked a lot about how easy their schedule is. This is not an easy game. Where's your confidence level for the Pats on the road against Tampa?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good measuring stick. I think, if New England's in this game or even wins this game, I think you come out with a lot of confidence. If, for some reason the Bucs blow them out or beat up on them pretty good, then I think you probably take a step back as a Patriots fan. So I'm optimistic, but I'm not going to sit here and say this is a Patriots win by any means, because I think they lose this week and Pat could be on here next week going, I got another team on fraud watch, and it's the New England Patriots outside of that Buffalo win. Who have they beat? They've lost to the Raiders in game 1 of the season. They lost to the Steelers. You got to take it for what it is with New England right now. Obviously, it's been a fun season. but I'm not going to get too ahead of myself. I want to see what they look like against Tampa. Now, if they beat Tampa and if they beat them handily this week, I'm going to be insufferable. I'm going to be insufferable. Also, Huss, we didn't talk about it this week. We didn't really put any time aside for it, but any futures you've circled, anything you jumped on after the futures show? And we're kind of at the halfway point now. Like, is there anything of value out there or something you want to just pat yourself on the back and say, hey, I got a great number? Like, for instance, I got the Colts to win the division at plus 135. I'm really happy about that right now, even though I called them frauds. I think they're in a great spot to capture the division. But I got that in after week 1. Anything else out there that you like or anything you jumped on?
I wasn't feeling as good about a few of my Chiefs futures after the Bills game last week, but as more of the Bills fans have reminded me, that's the regular season. We'll see what happens. The AFC West number, I think I got it at plus 180. It's back very much live after last night. And it's not like the Broncos lost, but just that is who they are. Chiefs will be coming off the bye in Denver next week. Big, big game for both of those teams while we're, of course, at the Grey Cup. Guys, that'll do it. And next week, we'll be seeing you guys here in the Peg for Grey Cup festivities. Hey, got to shout out everybody in the chat. Matty Hyman, the Dallas Waiters, what's up? Even saw T. Will in there. Wayne Robretsky, Broncos versus Raiders TNF. Only good thing for Bronco fans is it wasn't snowing, and they won. Waiters seems to like Tampa. And some thoughts, Dallas, I love you, but this take that the PS5 controller is better than the Xbox controller, absolute nonsense. The greatness of the Xbox starts with the superior controller, and now it's taken over from there. Discuss amongst yourselves. Guys, we're going to get these up in the combo cards and in the exclusives. Again, the partner parlay is going to be Detroit, Baltimore, and Pittsburgh, all with about an extra half point or so clocked in on it. The prop parlay, Goff over 247.5 passing, Nico Collins over 62.5 receiving, Justin Jefferson over 6.5 receptions. And we're taking a nice swing on this touchdown parlay. Judkins, Jamison Williams, and Dalton Kincaid. That'll be up in the combo cards as well. Folks, appreciate you all joining us. And again, if you haven't taken advantage of all the parlays that we're cooking up, and there's so much more that Jake and the gang are putting up, get on over to coolbet.com. And again, if you haven't played there before, what are you waiting for? Use the promo code WST. We'll double your bonus up to $200 on your first deposit and hopefully provide you some winners as well. Big thanks to Connor Rabchak for producing, for Jake Bolin Moss and Patty G. We'll see you next Friday on WST Winners when the boys are in the Peg for Grey Cup. And we'll catch you this afternoon on Winnipeg Sports Talk live at 1 right here on YouTube.